Wow, it's been a while. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
So, coming off the hills of the great arc of Domains of Dread featuring Curse of Strahd, we move to the world of Eleren, where the Kingsmen come back to the capital. Let's jump right in. When we last joined the Kingsmen, Fiddy had sent them on a quest through a planar portal into the demiplane of Frost to find a mysterious book in the lair of a necromancer. After fighting their way through the ice and frost of this mysterious place, they were able to retrieve the book, but not without some difficulty. Returning the book to Fiddy, they learned that during the wars of the Age of Ein, champions of all manner planar beings had descended upon Eleren to utilize forges of power known as ether forges to imbue their essences into artifacts of the Empyrean Age. In fact, the longsword of the Fireforge was pictured in the book. What mysteries lie dormant? From behind the group, a page clears his throat. Good sirs, Lady Alana requests your presence.
Of course, tell her we'll be there in a moment.
You don your finery, you head out of the royal guests' chambers. Arriving outside of Alana and Durian's new chambers, many guards stand ready, while one bids you enter. Walking through the wide doorway, you see Killian, Akeem, Durian, and Alana enjoying some tea. They seem to be in some kind of debate, and their voices fall away as you enter the room. The last thing you hear is Akeem saying, "I told you, you left it at that place in Themon months ago." Alana stands up and smiles, and then she looks to each of the princes, both twins, but very different personalities. Alana asks the young princes to excuse themselves and bids you entry to enjoy some tea. Please, come in and sit down.
Your Highnesses.
She smiles and Durian nods. She looks to you, the group gathered. Thank you for coming so quickly. I'm afraid I need a favor from you. As you know, we've called those close to the throne back to the capital on the hills of what has transpired with Nesamatu and, well, the shortening line of succession to the crown. She looks tired, as if the weight of a nation now sits upon her shoulders. She continues, as you may have heard Akeem mention, Killian left something dear to him in Themon, his lute. We told him we'd have another made for him, but the young prince insists that the instrument is special in some way. You see, while they're twins, Akeem and Killian are quite different. She sips her tea and continues. Akeem is what every young soldier aspires to be. Disciplined, wise, patient. Killian, on the other hand, is capricious and unpredictable. I'm afraid he won't put this notion out of his mind and will journey to Themon on his own, regardless of what we ask. I know you've just returned, but we need this favor. She looks to Durian and she says, I need this favor. Killian has taken a like to you, and she looks over to Silas. Would it be too much to ask if you journey with Killian to Themon? And Silas nods and then looks back towards the group.
I look towards Guy and Caliban to see, if they give any signs of what they might want to do.
They're asking all of us to go?
Yes.
Caliban's like, I just got back to the palace, damn it.
Just like, that's... Yes, loot retrievers, that's always what I've wanted to be.
She says, if Killian understands that you're to go with him, I think we can put him off for a few days if you guys want to take some time and relax and enjoy the city now that it's much quieter. But that is completely up to you. But I'm afraid if I don't tell him something, he's going to bolt out of here as soon as we look away.
I'm going to look towards Silas, thinking about the other night's occurrence of what happened when him and Killian played that music and sensing there might be something deeper going on.
He looks back towards you and, kind of gives you a knowing nod before turning back towards Alana and Durian.
I see no reason why we might not want to see more of your great empire, and I don't think we've gotten to visit Themon yet, but
She says this should be a short trip. Themon's about a day and a half, 2 days ride south along the main road.
Yeah, if my companions have no objections, then I don't see a problem, but maybe if the young lord possibly could wait maybe at least a day or so. Fiddy, as you know, sent us to find something, and there's some questions I would like maybe answered first, maybe before we set out, or I know some of my other companions, and I look towards Caliban, might want to rest and relax for a little bit before we set off right away.
She nods. That is acceptable. And Silas says, well, why don't you give me a few minutes and I'll go ahead and talk to Killian and see if I can settle in britches down a little bit.
Perfect. I'm gonna go. I need to talk to Fiddy, Guy, and Caliban. You guys, I don't know if you want to stay with Silas or come with me.
No, I want to hear what
Um,
Fiddy has to say.
Yeah, me too.
And you can see like Torn is usually definitely been trying to work on being like more like courtly and well mannered, but he definitely seems to be kind of in a rush to get back to Fiddy this time. So he just gives kind of a my lords and lady and gives a brief kind of slight bow, not quite as deep as it was before the recent events.
And
But
then he turns around and runs.
Mhm.
Finishing your tea, Alana bids you good day, and Durian walks with you to the door. As you guys head out, he falls in line behind you, the group walking in silence for several minutes. The quiet of the spire is much different than you remembered when you were here last. Your footfalls echo along the broad walkways of marble. After several more minutes, Durian finally breaks his silence. He stops as you guys face each other, looking to each one of you. He gestures around. Now that I'm part of this place, I've been privy to many meetings and reports from the field. It seems this land has been wilting away for years, just as the Empress now wilts on the deck behind the Great Pyramid. There's something more going on down there. There are many other cities across Catal. Do some poking around when you're down there and learn what you can. And briskly he turns and on his heel and walks back towards his chambers. The day draws open. Camera focuses in on each party member, standing in the quiet hallways of the greatest, if crumbling, empire of Eleren. Kingsmen, adventure awaits. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna fill Guy in quickly on walking back because he's been in the kitchens while Fiddy sent us. You've been busy in the kitchens for a little while, Guy, but Fiddy sent us to retrieve this tome from some different plane. He said that it could possibly help us get home, although I'm not sure. That's one thing I want to ask, but we fought some sort of ice knights and creatures, but the tome spoke of weapons, of artifacts from gods or planar beings, and I'm gonna put my hand on the hilt of the sword of the Fireforge, and this sword was in there as well. I think before we set off, we should see what Fiddy might know or find out, or what he suspects. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you guys even interested in going home anymore?
Well, the last home I had burnt to the ground, remember?
Yeah, a damn bouncer.
Yeah, I kind of like it here.
I don't know.
And if we go back home, I mean, here we're kind of semi-big deals.
You all don't have any loved ones, people you want to see or protect back home?
Not particularly.
Torn kind of cocks his head towards Caliban. It's like, I don't think I've ever really heard you talk much about your home, Caliban.
I don't really have much of one. The one I had burned down.
I mean, I know we all spent time in that tavern, but y'all must have had some sort of lives before then.
Yeah, I kind of grew up. Well, it's a long story, but I don't really have any immediate family. I have no siblings, and my mother is dead, so.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I suppose I might have some distant relations, but I don't know them, so.
Wouldn't be the Saxville Bagginses, would they?
Not as far as I know.
And we've been walking and talking, going back to the library where Fiddy is.
And as you make your way to the library, and I don't think Guy has seen this, it actually has a nice door, double doors made of mahogany, and there's a guard post standing outside. As you approach, they open the doors for you, and you head into, there's a large wooden table, and Fiddle is passed out asleep, his head in the folds of a large tome. Where you once had seen a wall before, there's been what looks like a manufactured opening where a path leads a little bit up and then turns it to the left out of sight.
It's the only way. That's the only direction to go in, right?
Well, that's after you've already gone in, right? They open the door, Fiddle's there, about 20 feet in the room.
Oh, he's there.
Yeah, on a large table, absolutely knocked out asleep, his head in a large tome. What's different is this hole in the wall that looks like it had been either hit with a hammer and broken into it that revealed some secret passageway. The other guys had gone in there while you were making dinner for everybody last time they visited. It's definitely something new that you hadn't seen before.
Yes, Fiddy's been quite busy, it seems. And I'll look for Fiddy in the library.
Yep, he's passed out at the large table where he has his fish bowls and his Trident of Fish command just laying there on there. His head is in the book that you retrieved from the demiplane of frost, and he is knocked out.
Is
Damn.
he? Hopefully, he's just sleeping.
Yeah, holding the portal to that demiplane seemed to cost him quite a bit of energy. He was a little bit disoriented even when we returned. We were lucky that he was able to hold it long enough for us to get back. I don't think we should wake him.
As books fall from the shelves piled up.
Wait a minute.
I guess there's nothing to do but enjoy the palace and wait for tomorrow.
Real quick, is Guy supposed to have a helm of comprehending languages?
I think you got it again, didn't you?
I think
He
so.
did.
Yeah.
Great.
Except for this time, it looks more like a headband.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, can I make it a headband?
Yep.
And I'm gonna kind of lead us out of the library and quietly close the doors. And probably actually is there like a couch or something in the library?
No, it's just this large table. Tomes lay open on the floors on top of the table. The specific tome that you guys had returned from the demiplane of frost is his pillow for the time being.
Is he drooling?
No, but he's definitely snoring.
All right. I'm going to turn towards. Is there any servants nearby, or
There's a posted guard out front.
could you have some of the servants send for some pillows and blankets and have Sir Fiddy lay into more comfortable sleep here in the library?
Of course. And he whistles to a page, and the page comes over and repeats your request, and off they go, their feet slapping against the marble.
I don't want to bring him back to the room. He's probably more comfortable surrounded by books anyway, but, well, I'm sure you're keen to enjoy the creature comforts here, Caliban. Should we head back to our quarters?
Actually, I have a crystal ball on order. Might go check on it.
I had forgotten. We went down to the jeweler there. Rice, I
Oh,
believe
okay.
his name was.
Yeah,
Is that where we'd like to go?
sure.
I'd say mid-morning probably as you guys headed back out. Capital city of Cataloi. You make your way to Spinal Rainbow. As you walk through, you see both Risa and Amaro there. He smiles and welcome back. It is good to see you. I hope you've been well. My husband here tells me that you were in just, was it yesterday? Made a purchase with us. Quite sizable. We appreciate it. And that gem you used for procuring this item is absolutely fantastic. And she smiles and bows.
Happy to do business with such honest merchants such as yourselves.
Yeah, not like that other place.
Oh, swindlers, I tell you. We know who in the city we need to take care of. I understand, well, at least Amaro tells me you have friends in high places, and we like friends in high places.
I had a game question, guys. Do we know how many diamonds we have? Oh, I've got 300 diamonds.
You
on
have
me.
300 gold, and I have 400.
Risa says, yes, you purchased more diamonds here yesterday, from what Amaro tells me, and he says, yes, that is correct. They asked me if we could procure some more. I told him it would be a little while, as with the crystal ball. But that should be here by the end of the week. I hope that is sufficient.
Of course.
Yeah.
I remember it was only yesterday. Sometimes,
Just
everything going
seems
on.
longer.
yeah, it seems like months in my mind. But
Is there anything else that you might want to get while you're here? Or maybe a gift from the best jewelry shop in the upper city to the Empress-to-be?
that sounds good, actually. Do we know kind of what her tastes are?
Risa looks back to you. Please, all the ladies here enjoy a trinket that's suitable for her station. One moment. And she walks in the back, and after several heartbeats where Amaro's kind of sitting there just, looking at you, not uncomfortably, but like, there's that awkward silence that hangs in the air. She returns to the front and she says, she has a box and she hands it to you and says, please give this to the Lady Alana with the regards of Risa and Amaro from the Spinal Rainbow.
Oh, of course. How much?
Oh, no, please. Anything you can do to persuade, let's say, visitors and or other royals to come visit us when they have needs would be most appreciated.
Of course. I'll especially tell that to Duke Durian if he ever needs any gifts in the future for his.
Certainly, he must have a large family on his side of, well, the Highlands, just as Alana would have on her side here.
When you're married to the soon-to-be empress, I'm sure there'll be plenty of gifts to give in the future as well. So.
And you know where to get them.
I take the box.
They sit behind their counter and they smile, kind of leaning into each other a little bit.
By the way, I happen to be in the market for a particularly expensive agate, say worth 1,000 gold. Do you have anything like that, or can obtain anything like that?
I imagine we can at least procure it or tell you where we might be able to get it. I think that is absolutely doable.
Well, if you can get one, I'd be interested.
I'll see if I can get it here by the end of the week, along with your crystal ball.
I'd appreciate it.
Very well. Amaro, see to it. And he runs off to the back. You can tell who's really in charge of this business. And as he skips quickly to the back to start writing up a sales order to get it to whoever he needs it to get to. Just hopefully it's not Yadawiya. If there's anything else, I'll bid you a good day.
Of course. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll see each other again quite often.
Hopefully by the end of the week.
Yes.
Good day, gentlemen.
By the way, what day of the week is it? How many days away is the end of the week?
A few, like Wednesday.
So probably when we get back from this adventure, maybe.
That sounds about right, since it's several days down there.
Yeah, it'll be about 2 days, day and a half if you don't want to. If you want to take your time, 2 days. If you want to get there quickly, probably a day and a half, and then a day and a half back.
And should we head back? Unless you want to go gambling, Caliban.
Not really.
Yeah, it's probably better once you've hit a big jackpot to just kind of, take your winnings and go, right?
I think I used up all my gambling luck.
And we head back to the palace.
All right, you head back to the palace, and the streets are quiet. Much different, like I said, from when you were here last during the Jubilee for the Empress. It's quiet, and you go back into the palace, and there's a somber mood, likely to have to do with the illness of the Empress, but a little bit of excitement on a change seems to be on the air, where you've talked and worked with Alana several times. She seems level-headed. She would be a good ruler, but a more fair ruler than, the shrewd Empress to be, with her pursed lips and wrinkled nose at everything not close to her. You make your way back to the royal guest chambers. The day is yours. You could either ask to fast forward or go do some more shopping. What would you like to do?
I have nothing else, so
I would just kind of ask if my armor and tabard can be kind of decorated. I have a kind of motif that I have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And while waiting for that, I'd probably head down to the military or guard garrison wherever they're drilling, and just go down there, drill, and try to think through some things in the best way I know how, which is physical activity.
So you head down to what is used as the arena, Torin, where the games were and the opening ceremony of the Jubilee, etc. There are people out there drilling using, not wooden weapons, but actual weapons, but they're going about half speed. And there's a huge man there. He probably stands 6'5", and he's almost as round as he is tall. Clearly he was, in his youth, very athletic, but as the years have worn on, he's kind of still appears strong, but he's kind of grown a little bit of a belly over his six-pack, and his shoulders are thicker, and his armor fits relatively tight. And he is Bashir Dahlia, he's one of the royal guard captains that report to Ankaro. He's down there hollering at the guys as you make your way at the top of the pavilion, looking down on the drills going on.
Captain, pardon my intrusion.
Of course. How are you? Would hoped I'd get time with you at some point. And he bows slightly. Bashir.
I don't bow. I just give him a nod.
Bashir, good to make your acquaintance. What brings you all the way out here?
Well, seems I have some time before me and my companion's services are needed again, and I've got quite a bit on my mind, and need something to help me work through it and clear my head, and well, there's only one real way I know how to do that.
Of course. As do I. And he whistles. Jafar, please, put the young knight through his paces.
And I wouldn't be wearing my shield or my armor right now.
Yep.
Because I sent those off.
And it's pretty hot. Everybody's in there sweating. They're wearing, the Under Armour's the leather that usually sits underneath.
I thought you meant sexy.
Plate. He is.
I'm wearing
She's
bikini
sexy
armor.
with my armor. Exactly. And you guys, he starts putting you through the same workout he's giving to all his men, all the Royal Guardsmen, up and coming or stationed or otherwise. And you spend your day doing that.
And I would just be using the same generic weapons they're using. No magical items or anything, just...
Yep. It's the familiar Kopesh that you've seen most of them wear. The curved, hooked blade of this that's preferred in this nation. The day goes by. You get your workout in. Head back. Muscles aching. Sweating. Back to the royal guest chambers where both Guy and Caliban are sitting in the common room just having a conversation.
Did you all enjoy your day? As I'm wiping the sweat off and probably go and pour myself a drink.
Yep, definitely. They, like clockwork, even when you were staying there for several months, they're fresh fruit, a little bit of spirits if you prefer, cold water if you prefer, some kind of juice made out of a local melon.
Probably hit the juice first, and the water to hydrate, and then I'll hit the spirits. I'll just kind of give them a nod, pull out a book from my pack, open it to where I have a pressed, dried desert lily, and start reading again.
Is it the book that I think it is?
It is.
The dark of the night descends upon the Great Pyramid, and before long, everybody finds rest. The sun rises in the morning, the soft crash of waves upon the surf far below this guest chamber that overlooks the long swim, as it's known in Catalese. Thursday, what do you want to do?
Oh, I wake up a little later. Not sure how I slept. Did I sleep in or did I wake up early?
You slept in.
I wake up and hope that guy's made some breakfast.
Like always, I wake up before everybody else because this guy's cooking.
Of course, you smell the familiar scents of guys cooking who can make a road tack into a filet mignon whenever he feels like it. You almost miss the road. You feel a little bit eager again to be out of the palace and on the road, just knowing that Guy's going to be able to cook whatever you guys find and make it taste fabulous. But what's different this time is you smell some spices that he normally doesn't use or doesn't have access to. You smelt it at some of the royal dinners that they've had here when you first were introduced. It smells really good, and just around the corner is the guests' common eating area and guests' kitchen.
Has Silas come back yet?
Yep, Silas comes back. Morning, y'all. Hope I didn't disturb you too much. You mind if I sit and have some food here? Okay, perfect. Before you even say anything, he sits down. Well, I talked to Killian. He seems to be all right. He's itching to go for whatever reason. We talked more about what happened the other day, and he was like, I feel fine. Nothing going on. I had him play my lute. Played it for a while in the same place we did before, and nothing seemed to happen. So I could just chalk it up to, happenstance. 1 in a million. I don't think it's any big deal. Be there and back. But yeah, he says you can wait till when are we gonna leave? Friday? This is sure is a nice place. I was walking around and all the people were bowing to me and guards were saluting. You guys must be pretty popular around here, huh?
I keep forgetting that you weren't here the last time with us.
If I was here, I'd have remembered. Definitely.
We spent a little bit of time here. I don't know, Caliban, do you want to wait until your order is ready and then go?
No, we can go. Be a good way to pass the time while I'm waiting.
All right, we could. If Guy has no objections, then we can. You can tell Killian we can leave today.
Well, hang on, Nang. Hang on here a minute. I mean, I just been here one night and I got to walk around and they were handing me drinks and giving me food and fresh fruits and whatever. And well, I mean, if it's all right with you, I'd like to, maybe spend another day before we run off out into the middle of the desert. Of course, if whatever the group says, I'll do. I'm gonna go with y'all. This boy seems like my little brother, but I mean, if you could give me one more night, it would be fantastic.
We can rough it one more night, I suppose.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'll be back. And he takes a plate of food as he normally does and kind of skips out of the room, going to find what kind of trouble he can get into. You guys sit and have your breakfast. As you're having your breakfast, you see Fiddle come in, looks a little tired. Oh, he looks around, sees Guy. Did you make this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Don't I
okay.
always?
All right. Where's my spot? Here. Okay. Let me get 2 plates. He goes and grabs the food and grabs his food and sets his plates down and just starts powering down the bacon and whatever else you made through his thick mustache connected to his mutton chops, getting probably more on his facial hair than he is putting down his gullet. In between mouthfuls, he's like, "You wouldn't believe what I found in this book. There are, those rings you guys have? There's a whole, couple pages. Apparently, those belong to, the royal houses of the elven people when they used to live up here. Can you believe that? You're like elven kings, but not in their kingdoms, like in their old kingdoms, though."
How many rings do we have? We have.
What rings? I don't remember any rings.
Those black rings, the one that Guy has there and the one that Torin has there.
And Duke Durian has one as well.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, he has one too. They were made for all the princes of the elven kingdoms, I guess. There's a whole ton of them. I guess there's a lot of people who were affiliated some way with the crown. Probably kind of like here, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, there's fewer. Anyways, and he starts stuffing his mouth with food again.
I'll lean over to Caliban and say, "It's still weird he looks younger."
Yeah, much of the gray that was on his, in his hair and on his upper lip and mutton chops are now a cool, dark, almost raven-colored, kind of thick in the sun, covered in a little bit of grease and here and there, crumbs as he mows down food. It looks like he hasn't eaten for at least a day and a half, maybe 2 days.
You would think the people out here would have freaked out when they would have saw him come back younger.
I think the court has a lot on their plate, and I kind of smirked myself, pun intended. Maybe they just haven't had the time to notice yet. Fiddy,
Mm-hmm.
you sent us to that demi-plane. You said that book had a possible key to bringing us home.
Oh, yeah. You remember that paper I had when I changed the rune from whatever, I think it's the symbol of Aloro now is what it's called, the official symbol that Duke has. And then I changed it into the blue. Well, apparently that page was part of this book, and there are a whole bunch of other pages like it. It's really fascinating.
So one of those pages leads to home?
I think so. I haven't finished reading it. I've stayed up, ever since you brought it back, and I've been up ever since.
If you find anything out, please let me know right away.
Of course. I was reading up about your sword. I guess there's, I was telling you about the Aether Forges. I guess if you can take that sword to the area where it was created, you can awaken it somehow, and it'll grow in power. I don't know really what it means, but if you were ever to find that place, I'll keep reading. But it's like these are supposed to be items that grow in power when you do certain things.
I mean, wasn't this made in the Fire Forge?
I mean, that's where that guy who was wailing it killed me, and you too, I guess, huh? Well, not by the sword, but in that dwarven place, yeah.
Is the Fire Forge listed as one of these ether forges?
I don't know. I like I said, I mean, the book's pretty thick, and I've only been able to get through pages. I was particularly studying a lot of the stuff about the elven people that used to live up here, and learned much about those rings and kind of what it does. There's places all over all over Iran that have these gates are all over, and if you have one of those rings, you can go to any gate you want.
You mentioned a staff the other night as well.
Oh yeah, the redwood staff. It's supposed to be some kind of druidic. It's a druidic, I don't know, symbol of your station, like the over druid or whatever you guys call yourselves, has supposed to wield that at some point in time back in the past. But yeah, it's the fiend called itself Valiessa, who said they were supposed to be cataloging it or something. The last place they knew it was called the Flame Rule, or the Halls of the Flame Rule, or something like that. Isn't that what we had at the? And he snaps his fingers at the tribe. Wasn't it on one of their scrolls that they keep or they protect, or it's holy? Does that mean anything to you, Caliban?
No, not really.
Oh, I thought it was interesting. But yeah, if I find, do you want me to look more and see where that place it was supposed to be?
Yeah, if there's a connection.
Definitely.
You are the scroll keeper after all.
Of course. Now I'm the bookkeeper. I just might as well be librarian. You know what? That fits me pretty good. But I'm too young, I think, to be a librarian.
I guess you are a little too young now, but you'll grow into it, I'm sure.
It's fascinating, some of the things that we learn in books. It's incredible.
I'll look towards Caliban, and that staff could be useful.
Yes.
Maybe something to think about once we're done with this little loot errand.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go back and get that done. You guys gonna be around for a while, or stop by and say hi?
We're heading down to Themon probably tomorrow.
Oh, you mean the former elven capital of this place? I heard that place is magnificent. There's some pictures in there. The spire. It's also known as the city of 1,000 spires. Just to let you know, it's supposed to be pretty amazing.
Themon was the former capital of the Elven Kingdoms here?
Yeah. It was like there's all kinds of spires that rise into the sky, and that was thousands and thousands of years ago, I guess, but it was supposed to be like the jewel, before this place was a desert, the jewel of the Elven Kingdoms up here.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of interesting things to see then.
Yeah, if you find anything, bring it back to me, and I'll try to research it and let you know what it is.
Of course, keep looking for that key. Yeah?
All right, guys. And like Silas, he grabs a plate full of Guy's amazing food, and he heads out of the kitchen. And the day is yours.
Anything you all wanted to do today? I guess we have another day.
I can't for the life of me think of anything to do.
I guess doing nothing sometimes is a luxury we should appreciate in between some of our more crazy adventures.
Is it a bad thing that it's starting to feel odd on days that no one tries to kill us?
Caliban, I haven't had a day since no one's tried to kill me, I think since I was 12. Yeah, you get used to it, I suppose. I mean, even the last time we were here, even in the palace, there were...
Again, there were people trying to kill us. I'm just saying.
Me especially. And I pour myself a drink with breakfast.
You just kind of throw off that kind of stab me aura,
Yeah, I suppose that's karma at work for choosing to live by the sword. Sometimes I wonder if choosing this life was worth it. This path.
Hey, sometimes the life just chooses you.
You both seem to have taken to this place quite well, and I don't blame you. The money we have here, the prestige.
It's a palace.
I'm talking about the world.
Ah,
You might see this as an opportunity. For me, it seems like nothing but a forge.
Why is that?
And I, well, you know how sometimes I can't seem to sleep or sleep in too long. All my life, I've only ever had one dream. Well, two dreams. They kind of split off, right? Where I come from, back in our world, was called the Gentle Glade. We're followers of Eldath, pure pacifists. I was raised to do no violence ever, not even to defend yourself. But
Wait a minute. Not even to defend yourself.
not even to defend yourself. We were,
So, how does that work when somebody wants to kill you?
well, the Gentle Glade was hidden and deep in the forests and some of the glades of Eldath. We were taught that we were under her protection, that living out our values would bring us to, if we were slain, upholding our values, that we would be brought to her innermost sacred pools in the afterlife. I was raised that way until my 12th birthday, when I left. Because, like I said, I've only ever had two dreams. One dream, I stayed, lived my life happily with my family, created a family of my own, lived peacefully. And then the dream changes, and everyone around me is slaughtered. Just my home, my family destroyed, everything I cared about and loved, and I was powerless to stop it. The second dream, well, I chose to leave, to forsake my family's values and beliefs, to choose a life of blood and violence and death, of pain, to be cast out forever from my home, but I was able to protect it. And that's what I've been doing since. Because on my, well, I should say, during those dreams, it always diverges at the same point. There was a meteor shower on my 12th birthday. So when my 12th birthday came to pass, and I saw that meteor shower, I knew what I had to do. So I left. I wandered for a while. Eventually I was picked up by a group of bandits, along with some other strays and kidnapped children. And we were forced to fight each other, to cull the group. And those who survived became part of the bandits. We were the front lines, cannon fodder, until you survive long enough to rise in rank. Long story short, there's more to that I can bring up another time, but eventually I found my way to that tavern, fighting my way to survive. I ended up with you all, and now we're here. So when I say this world is a forge, I mean that it's a forge for me. All this for me is to protect the people I have at home. But if I'm not even on the same world, how am I? I don't know. And I go quiet and start drinking.
And you guys spend the next several hours drinking in silence, thinking about Torn's words much of the day. Into the afternoon, into the evening. Before you know it, Torn's passed out in the common room on the comfy couch, and you guys head back to your chambers. And the night goes by quietly. Rushing of waves against the cliffside, almost lulling Susie to sleep. The next day comes. Friday morning, Silas is leaning against the door jamb, got his bags packed. Well, he says aloud, everybody gonna be ready, or are we gonna just spend the whole day here and head out at night? I thought at least y'all like to travel early in the morning, so I figured I'd be ready. Made some friends in the upper city. It's a nice place. It's even better we get to stay in a place like this. Y'all need anything, I'll be in the kitchen. Guy's already in the kitchen doing his morning rituals, cleaning. Silas walks in, Guy. How you doing, Guy? Did you make this? Because your cooking's much, well, he looks around to see if there's anybody there, including the cook who normally mans the place, who's kind of left you alone for, well, not kind of left you alone, but left you alone and given your own little workspace. Kind of better than most of the stuff. It's, I don't know, it's not quite the Eastern Kingdom, not quite the desert community that I grew up at, but boy, wherever you learn how to do this, fantastic.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the boys tell me y'all can cook this stuff on the road like it ain't no thing. I mean, I've only been, with you guys for, God, it only feels like, what, barely a week or something? Cannot wait.
Yeah, well, we were also kind of thrown into that island without much provisions, but yeah, guys, road cooking is
I want to apologize because, I didn't know that place was going to take us to that place. I just figured we'd just go back and take a look, but, I mean, it worked out. Isn't that right, my liege?
we got Fiddy back, so I'd say it worked out.
I got to spend 2 nights in this amazing city. Oh, you should have heard the girls down in the upper city when I told them I was staying at the palace. Great time. Played music all night long. It was fantastic. In fact, I haven't even slept. And you see him, he's got bags under his eyes and looks like he's been out all night having a great time. And he knows he has to be somewhere early in the morning, so he decided not to go to bed.
Did you go gambling at all, Silas? I hear there's hit quite the streak of luck.
Nah, it was pretty quiet. There wasn't a bunch of stuff going on. There's a couple places, but they're like in the lower city, not really high rollers, low, like we are. And he smiles, well, like you are. But I just went from place to place and made a few bucks here and there and made some friends, if you know what I mean.
It's an interesting city for sure.
For sure.
I look towards Caliban and Guy. Should we head off or wait till night?
We should wait till night for Silas's sake.
I'm ready to go if y'all want to go.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. You really want to just hang around the palace all day for another day?
I mean, if you want to twist my arm, I will.
I'm ready to go. I kind of smirked towards Guy. I said, should we call your goat to be saddled? Or is it a sheep? I think it was a sheep, right?
Just call forth the goats.
Yeah, I think it was a sheep.
Oh, man.
But no, I wish it was a goat.
Hey, it can be a goat if you want it to be a goat.
Silas, did Keelan mention at all? Are we going to be traveling by the sea? Are we going to go by land? Is there?
We're supposed to be going to Themon, right? And I think
Well,
that's across the Sibian Bridge.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
We can go
just
there,
up
but I mean, it's from what I hear, you can access it both by land or by boat. I mean, maybe the princess, y'all know pretty well, can get us a charter boat, and we don't have to worry about riding a horse all week. But I mean, when you said sheep or goat, Guy here just kind of got a little smile on his face, like like he hadn't been around it in a little while. I mean, that's not what I mean, but anyways.
One day we'll let you in on the joke, Silas. Don't worry.
All right. Anyways, so I thought we were going to go by land. I asked him to get the horses ready, and I didn't know there was a goat, so I didn't ask him about the sheep. But I mean, if you can talk to whoever it is you talk to, maybe they can get us a charter, and we could just sleep on the way.
I look towards Guy and Calvin. I mean, I'm good either way. What would you guys prefer? We took a ship down to Yadawia before.
Yep.
Maybe we go by land this time.
Yeah, I'm good either way.
All right. Well, I wouldn't want to put them good guys out. They got the horses ready. Everything's ready at the stable. They tell me, I mean, I can have one of the pages go get is it a sheep or a goat guy? Goat guy, get it? Is it a sheep or?
Didn't we give the sheep to that boy, the stable boy, to care for?
Is that?
I think we did when we last left the
Yeah, didn't the
Yadawia.
stable boy wanted? No, yeah, right. I remember he liked the sheep very much.
Mm-hmm. I'd hate to take it away from the boy. Maybe they can get you a small pony, Guy.
And you hear the despair in Guy's voice as he says, "Sure."
Or I could walk. Not a problem.
All right. Well, let me go get Killian, and I'll meet you all at the stable.
All right.
Silas, remind them that I will not be needing a mount.
You gonna ride like on the back of my horse, on the front of my horse too?
No, I'm gonna ride on Guy's shoulders when he walks.
He kind of narrows
I
his
try to
eyes.
say as seriously as possible.
Well, all right.
And Guy is confident that he could carry him.
I bet he could. And he heads out the door again with a plate full of food. It's like he's gonna take it on a trip. What would you guys like to do?
Start packing our stuff,
yeah.
getting ready.
Let's
Yeah.
get out of here.
All right. You guys head back to the stable, familiar area. The boy's there, except for he's got a nice haircut. It looks like he's cleaned himself a little bit more than normal. Things have definitely settled down. There aren't tons of carts and carriages and horse and tack to take care of now. It's relatively quiet. The only other horses that are there in the guest areas are yours and a new one from Silas that seems to be, common traveling horse. And he's sitting there, and Killian's on a horse, probably way too big for him. In typical fashion of nobles going off and doing what they do, it probably looks like a noble bred horse, purebred, Arabian, a little bit fiery and not as tame. He's kind of trying to keep his balance as it trots back and forth like it wants to get out on the open road.
How's Killian looking? Like, does he look tired or
No, he looks fine.
normal?
And I'm gonna cast Find Steed,
Yep.
and I summon Dagon, my black desert stallion. But this time his mane is like a
Color of the
mix
desert?
of deep red and orange, like flames,
Oh, very cool.
and his tail is as well.
Does he just appear, or does he come running up from around the corner, or how does he normally show up?
I'd imagine now he I cast the spell, right, and I put my hand down to the ground, and like a jet of fire spreads out from my hands, and then the fire grows, and as the fire disperses in the smoke, Dagon is there.
And that's what you see. Very nice. You guys jump on your horses or your new steeds. Killian a little bit not sure of himself. Doesn't seem like he's been on many horses, particularly ones that have as much spirit as this horse does. He's yanking all the wrong ways, and Silas is like, no, you're supposed to just give him some lead and he'll walk. I'm sure he probably is just raring to go on the roads, and you guys will be heading out the south gate of the city of Cataloi. South gate turns into the Great Road, and in the distance you can see this bridge. It's massive. It stretches for miles, it seems. And you guys head out into the early morning sun, continue to travel. Once you get to the bridge, you can see really how massive it is. It's been reinforced over years. The stonework is elegant, a lot better than you've seen even in the capital. And the river rages wide, and it disappears over the falls to your right as you travel south, hundreds of yards down from where the bridge has been built. Start crossing the bridge, and you get about halfway across the bridge, and you can hear this music. It's almost like a choir or a chorus singing to you that seems to be coming from the river itself.
All of us are hearing this?
Yes.
And is it coming from any particular direction besides like on the left?
No, it seems to be coming up from equal sides of the bridge. Quiet, soft singing.
I look towards... Is it just us and Killian, or are there any guards as well?
No guards, just you and Killian. As you travel, you see some guards from time to time. The general legionnaires that patrol the major thoroughfares and roads. The roads are, at least near the capital, immaculately kept, and there's no potholes or anything like that. And you pass caravans every now and then heading towards the capital city, or you see in the distance heading east towards the city of Alim and the road you were on before to get to the Obsidian Bridge. You just hear the quiet singing of something coming from either below the bridge or from the water.
I lean over to Caliban for a moment and I say, either they trust us really well, or they do not care about their royal family. And then I'm going to loudly, Killian, is this normal, this singing?
Yeah, it's been here for as long as they tell me. I mean, it's some leftover enchantment from years gone by. There was frequent travel through here, and the people thought it was, as you cross this bridge from the north to the south, there's this singing. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's something like the Song of the Sea or something like that. It's about people. It's about the water going out to the sea. That's supposed to be some metaphor that, the spirit leaves the body and travels to wherever it's supposed to travel. Something like that. It's beautiful, don't you think? It's got a very unique tempo to it. Isn't that right, Silas? So I was like, yeah, but I'm not really sure it's happy song, but I can see where you're going with it.
And what language is it?
It's in, you speak Elvish?
Do not.
Silas will tell you it's in Elvish.
North to south, does that mean that it plays something different when you're walking the other direction?
No, not really. I mean, not since I've been here last. I mean, that's what they tell me.
Interesting. Silas, you'll maybe have to tell us some of the time what the song said. Without even kind of any, cues or anything, Dagon starts moving forward.
And then you guys move out at a more brisk pace, crossing the bridge, and the choral echoes behind you as you leave the bridge. Continue to travel for another 4 or 5 hours before the sun starts to set. You figure you'll get to Themon. Killian says probably if we keep a good pace and we ride into the night a little bit, and there should be plenty of legionnaires on the road, we should get there just as sundown tomorrow if we just keep a moderate pace. If you want to hurry, we can ride into the night, but I'd like to get there, but I'm not really pressed for time.
I don't see the need to exhaust ourselves.
All right. Well, I don't know anything about this. I usually take a boat. Where are we going to sleep?
Under the stars, my young prince, under the stars.
Oh, well, I'm glad. Good thing I brought this. And he reaches back and he smacks this extremely thick rolled up something on the back of his horse. And as he does and he smacks it, the horse rears a little bit and takes off and trots, and it takes him a little while to get it under control. And by the time you guys catch up, the twilight and the darkness of the night is overtaking the day. You guys want to set up a camp or look for a place to camp?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Real
I'll
quick,
assist Caliban. Or go ahead, guy.
how old is Killian?
He's probably no older than 20.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's older than I thought.
18, but he's got a really young personality. Happy-go-lucky, very different from Akeem. Akeem has obviously been raised to be one of the royal guardsmen, very disciplined, very athletic, whereas Killian is chasing shinies wherever he turns.
Yeah, to give you some comparison, Torin is 20 as well. Has lived quite a bit of a harder life.
Quite a bit of a harder life. All right, give me a survival check to find a nice place to sleep.
Caliban, let me help you.
And you guys can take advantage. Anybody can do it if they want to do it. You guys are on the main road between between the capital and the closest city to the capital. 16 is good enough. You can either find a spot at the side of the road. There seems to be turnouts or clearings where there are several in this specific clearing. It looks like a caravan sits on the side of the road. And no, not the caravan in the mists. It was caravan.
I was about to say those damn Vistani. They're everywhere.
A few people are gathered around a fire. You can probably find yourself a nice quiet place. It doesn't have to be with them or near them, but as you're closer to the city, they have bigger areas where people can camp if they want to.
Rest stops.
There you go.
Just put a halfling in a box.
Yeah. We'll follow Caliban's lead where he wants to set up camp, either closer towards the caravan or on our own more.
What would you like to do, Caliban? Closer or further away, or at least in the firelight, but on your own?
Yeah, I'm going to avoid the caravan. I have a bad feeling about caravans these days.
Totally understandable.
Mhm.
You travel another half hour, and it seems to be another rest stop that's relatively vacant. It's quiet. Stars are out overhead. You guys begin to set up camp. You see Killian jump down from his Arabian stallion and pull this gigantic piece of clothing, something. And it reminds you of the tents that you guys saw from the gypsies when you were traveling to the Temple of the Dragon. It looks like one of those, except for it's made of, silks and thick velvet, and he's struggling to put it up. After a while, he's like, okay, I think I'm done. And you look, and looks like it's hanging in some places and leaning to one side, and he's like, looks great. All right, good night. And he heads into his lavish
I'm gonna stop him before he heads in, and I'm gonna here, and I'm gonna help him set it up a little better.
And he's like, oh, okay, well, all right. Let me know what you need to do. And it is an hour worth of, him trying to pull those tents that have the bars through them and push them. And before long, you're like, okay, enough. Let me do it. And you put it up in 5 minutes. And he's like, oh, awesome. I'm glad you're here. All right. And he heads into his tent. There's like another room in here, Silas. If you wanna stay in here, there's like another room. And Silas says, I think I'll be out here for a little while and just play a few tunes here out by the fire like I usually do. Okay, but there's room. Just want to let you know. Okay. And Killian goes in, and Silas looks to you guys, and he's like, I don't know, man. It's a good kid. A little weird. Anyways, what's for dinner?
Everyone looks towards Guy.
Don't know. What do we have here?
I got some stuff from the palace. I didn't think they'd mind. It was just sitting out and figured, it was for us, so I took it. Got some meats and some vegetables, and it all smells pretty good. It's pretty fresh, I think. Well, you'll be the judge of that, Guy. And he starts unwrapping some of his pack, and he's got a lot of meat. And when you worked in the kitchen during the palace, you know exactly how they set it out and get it ready for it to be cooked for the dinners of the visitors and royals. And you probably figure he grabbed a full tray of that stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
This work? Okay, all right. I'm gonna let you do your thing. If you need any help, I can sing you a little song and get you in a little bit, give you some inspiration if you want.
sure. Not a problem. Probably make a nice hearty stew with this.
Oh, perfect. It'd be great underneath these desert lights. I haven't been out. Try to stay away from the desert. This is what my family told me. They always got told stories that, they're like keep people in slavery and bondage, and they're, look down their nose at everybody. But when I was there those 2 days, they treated me like a king, or at least a prince, or maybe an empress. Well, anyway, you know what I mean. Right? You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yes, well, we were lucky enough for how we entered the city as well. I believe if we had entered on our own, our treatment would have been a little different, but...
Oh, so what you're saying is I got you to thank for all this stuff that I got into yesterday. I mean, that I was able to enjoy over the last couple of days.
I mean, you've helped us out in a couple pinches recently, so maybe we'll call that tit for tat for now, huh?
Very good. And he starts to strum his lute. And Guy continues to cook and cooks this stew. It tastes fantastic. He's got some of the spices. It looks like Guy stole away some spices in the night, or at least from the kitchen that he was given privy over.
Oh yeah. Guy's always stealing spices.
And he makes a nice stew. You guys going to create a fire, I imagine, to cook the stew that would serve as your fire for the evening?
Yeah, so actually what I was going to say before was that if I was going to ask if a fire wasn't, if it wasn't made yet, then I'll, as always, ask Torn to get the wood.
Yep.
I will go find whatever I can search in this desert for kindling.
It looks like they clean the roads regularly, and they pile the driftwood or tumbleweeds or whatever kind of foliage or fauna exists into neat piles along the way, usually nearby the rest stops, just for this very reason. And Guy gets the fire ready and pulls his knives out, his knives that were at one point both the weapons he uses in battle and the things he cooks with. Cleaned, of course.
Even though one of the things is called sinuous.
The sinuous blade. Looks like a Filipino, what is it called?
Chris?
Yes, that's it. Exactly. It looks like one of those, except for a little shorter.
What?
The Chris, it's the
Oh,
curved, like the zigzag curved blade.
Yeah.
He cooks up a meal. Again, reminds you of, well, home. I mean, home for some of you if you ever want to go back. And you guys have your meal out under the stars. It's nice and quiet. Every 2 hours or so, a group of about 4 legionnaires walk by and come close to the road to where the rest stop is, and kind of give you a little bit of wave. Don't kind of give you a little bit. They give you a little wave, and they just continue on the road. And
Like a wave as in like,
good eve, everything good.
oh, okay, not like, oh, it's you guys kind of deal.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that. More kind of the whole Jeep wave. If you ever own a Jeep, the little wave as they pass by.
I heard about that, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've had a couple of friends who had Jeeps, so yeah, I definitely know the Jeep wave.
Yep. And for those of you who like motorcycles, the same thing. Little wave as you go by. And the night falls. You guys going to take a watch?
I'll take first watch as usual.
All right. Give me a perception check.
All right. That is a 14.
14. And you're sleeping, Caliban?
While he's on watch, yes.
All right. So, Torin, you see Caliban kind of shift in his sleeping bag, toss a little bit, turn a little bit. Maybe it's because he's not in the thick comfort or goose down feathered bed that he's used to in the palace, or, he doesn't being a water genasi. Maybe he doesn't like the dry air of the desert. Caliban, you come awake in the night, and there's darkness all around you. The lightning strikes the landscape. A large black rock clear on the horizon before you, and the words echo in your head. He who bears the flame bears the burden. Come, fulfill your destiny. And you see a silhouette with red flame for hair. She says, follow the lower-edged river to your destiny. There you'll find the place you seek. You come awake early in the morning. Maybe not so early in the morning. At least it feels like morning. The fresh vision close at hand. But the smell of fresh rain and ozone around you. You peer up and see Torin has his blade out and hasn't spoken the command word for light in Dwarvish. Sitting there, staring at the fire, thinking. And your watch ends, Torin. Who wants to take second watch?
I guess I'll take second watch.
Give me a perception check. Yep, 16. It's quiet. Every few hours you see more legionnaires continue up the road, one way or the other. There. Little wave, friendly wave of greeting. The night goes by, no issues. The morning comes and everybody gets a long rest.
Long rest.
Long rest. Everybody packs up. Again, it looks like Killian needs help with his tent, and you take a few minutes to help him out. And he rolls it up, albeit sloppily, and puts it on the back of his horse. And you guys mount up and head out for the day. As you continue on the rolling hills of the desert, you come over the hill and you see a city, a relatively large city in the distance. You surmise you'll get there just about sundown or just after sundown. As you head down to the city, it does look like it's 1,000 spires. It looks beautiful, silhouetted here in the darkening sky as you guys head towards the city. As you get closer, what looks elegant from a far distance seems less elegant, as if the passage of time has not been so kind to the city. It's not a walled city, but there are short walls around it with different arches elegantly carved. As you approach the northern gate, looks like a soldier standing out front, leaning against the wall. And you head down towards the opening. And as you approach it, he doesn't look like he's wearing any kind of uniform. What do you guys want to do?
I mean, we'll just keep riding into the city.
Like we own the place.
Yeah.
As you your horses continue down, he pushes off from the wall a little bit, and he's wearing mismatched boots and missing a teeth here and there, and he stands in the middle of the road, and your battle-trained horses stop as per normal, unless you kick them into high gear. And he says, well, welcome to Themon. Time to pay the entry tax.
Entry tax. I wasn't aware that there was any entry tax here.
Of course, you must be foreigners or something.
And who's in charge of the garrison here?
Oh, the Lord Alzamala, of course. Been in charge for probably a good 6 months or so. I'm here to enforce the rules.
And, who has higher ranking in Cataloy? Would it be this Lord, what'd you say, Alizu?
Alzamala, the Lord Alzamala. She lives on the high tower on the great tor of the city. And he points back, and you see rising above the center of the city is a tor that sits about 300 feet off the middle of the city, and there's a large dark tower with several lights on that spin around in different areas. Yep, she lives right up there, and I'm here to enforce her orders. And one of the orders is anybody who comes in, particularly foreigners, pay an entry tax.
I'm gonna just look a brief moment towards Killian to see if, what he thinks of this.
Killian looks at you, and you can see an imperceptible shake of his head.
Was that be a shake yes or a shake no?
Shake no.
I think I will speak with this lord then in her tower.
You think
about
so?
this entry tax. Oh, I do.
That's hilarious. Well, unless you pay the tax, you won't get by me. So I can say that you won't speak to him unless I get. And he starts counting out 1, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4. On his hand, he starts like trying to count things, and he's like, 2, 3, 1, 2. Unless I get 5 copper.
So you think you're going to stop all of us?
Well, I mean, I can blow this here whistle, and the guard will come. I'm sure they're going to stop you. Or you can, just pay the 5 copper as per usual.
I'm gonna get off Dagon.
Okay. You get off, and he kind of takes a step back and slowly pulls the whistle to his lips, but doesn't go there. Just want to make sure that you're not going to beat him up.
We have the 5 copper. We have more than the 5 copper. I have no problem giving 5 copper for a proper entry tax sanctioned by this lord who I'm sure reports to the royal family in Cataloy. But I don't think you report to this lord. I don't think this is a entry tax at all. I think you're trying to shake down anyone who's might be gullible enough to fall for your little ruse. So, if you have anyone that's coming, go ahead and whistle, because they won't be able to help you.
Are you trying to intimidate him or persuade him?
Intimidate.
Okay, roll intimidation check. 16. He pauses as he pulls the whistle to his mouth, and you see him start to continue to pull the whistle to his mouth, and you hear Killian, "Please, good sir, here, I'll give you double what the tax is." And he gets off his horse and he starts walking to this guy. The guy pauses. "See, this is a right good lad. What's your name, son?" My name is Kieran. I'm just a musician. I'm supposed to play at one of the taverns here this weekend." "Oh, well, what tavern are you going to play at?" I don't know. I'm supposed to meet somebody at the Worn Prince, and they're gonna tell me where I play." "Oh, okay. I know the place." And Killian continues to walk up and hands him what looks like 10 copper, 5 silver, 1 gold piece, whatever. He looks at it and bites down on what remaining teeth he has left, and he smiles and puts his whistle back in his pocket and his coin back in his pocket and starts walking into the city
Guardsman.
down one thoroughfare.
I'm going to call out to him for a moment.
"You talking to me?"
Yes. Your name, good sir.
My name is Ronald the Gate Guard." And he kind of
I'm sure it is.
starts to run off a little bit towards where he's going to go spend his newfound gold.
I'm going to look towards Killian and say, at least you had the smarts not to mention who you were.
Yeah, I typically, just pass myself off as a musician, but I mean, I usually take a boat, so I don't have a horse, and I don't know why Auntie decided to give me this beast that I can't control. It looks like something she'd ride. Anyways.
It's good to learn different sets of skills. You may never know when the skill to ride might save your life.
Things are a little different here than back at the palace. I've got some friends who run a place here, but I need to check in at the Worn Prince. I wasn't lying about that, so maybe we can go there and just have an evening meal or something, and I'll check in, and then they'll let me know where I need to go to check in the second time.
All right. We'll follow your lead.
And as you move into the city, the clip-clop on the broken cobblestones, the spires, some of them broken, and the rubble that was never cleaned up lies at the base of eroded over time. It's quiet on the streets. Quiet and empty, except for a few people moving swiftly to and fro. As you guys go towards the city, it fans out to the right and to the left. That it looks like the city's almost split up into circular areas. That the road, outer circle, inner circle, and then the circle that surrounds the poor in the middle. And there's somebody here that rules the place, but I mean, I don't think I'm related to them. I don't know. Anyways, come this way. And he turns to the left, and you guys start making your way around the eastern side of the city, and a lot of the houses and a lot of the storefronts are boarded up. Those that do have windows look like they've been either broken. Some look like they've been burnt. But there's a large presence of guards here. The guards wear dark uniforms with the livery, what looks like a checkerboard of black and charcoal. And in the center, what looks like a clear eye socket or a eye of black. You continue around to your left and give me a perception check. Party, give me a perception check. 16, 17, 21. All right. As you guys continue to move forward, you pull your horses up short as this shadowy form moves into the street from one of the dark alleys from the side. And it steps into the sputtering torchlight that illuminates some of the areas of the city. And it's an old woman. She's clad in like tattered rags, and her white hair is filthy and matted against her head. She stumbles into your path and gazes up with you with dull, like rheumy eyes, almost, as if she's somewhat blind, and her lips moving silently, saying gibberish. And she picks herself up again, and her eyes kind of clear, and she looks at you and mutters something else, and she continues across the street, moving quickly to wherever she's headed to.
And as long as she wasn't trying to sell me pies.
Before long, you find yourself outside of what this tavern's called the Worn Prince. It's a poor excuse of a place. It is obviously in the poor side of town, and the sign out front is barely hanging on, rocking back and forth in the wind. Mm-hmm. Killian gets off and ties his horse here and says, "You guys want to wait out here, or if you want to come in? I just need to check in, but it wouldn't be bad if we got something to eat."
You sure you want to eat at this place?
I mean, is that okay?
You've come here often when you're here, then.
Well, it's like it's where I go to check in to let them know I'm here.
Check in with who? Why do you need to check in with someone?
So my friends can know where I'm at and where I need to go next.
These friends of yours.
Sure.
I didn't think to ask before, but why did you leave your loot here?
Oh, one of my friends owns a place. Caters to guests who aren't relatively friendly with the people who are running this place, or I guess running this place. So I let him know that I'm on my way, so they'll let me in.
That didn't really answer the question.
No?
Why did you leave your loot here?
Oh, so I play music for this guy's friends. He has a lot of he knows a lot of people. One of those guys, right? He knows a lot of people, and he usually hires me to play music at his establishment, but it's kind of like a secret.
Does he know who you are?
Of course, he knows I'm Kieran.
Does he know who you really are?
Like, what do you mean?
A prince of Cataloy?
We never talked about it. I mean, I think so.
I'm just trying to. What do you get out of this relationship?
I get to play my music with the elven lute to people who are supposedly big shots. It's fun. I mean, I can be like Akeem, just stuffed up in doing drills all day at the palace, and Auntie telling me, "Don't do this, don't do that, go do this, go do that." Man, that's not for me, right, Silas? Silas kind of nods. I understand what you're saying. I got to be out amongst the people and playing the music, and what are better critics of your music than the people who have high station in places that they might not know you. They won't clap and cheer for you because you're supposed to be some royal prince somewhere. But I played here, and I forgot it when I came back.
I'm just gonna give a sidelong glance to Caliban, like.
You're a musician, right? And you just forgot your loot.
Well,
went all the way back to the capital before you realized you'd forgotten it.
They have other instruments there, and I thought I'd go back sooner, but Auntie sent me off on some, I don't know, trek to Jabari. He's supposed to teach me how to sail or statescraft or some other boring stuff like that. And I was just going to come back a couple of days so I could play again at his place. But when I got back to Cataloy, they sent me off, and I was gone for who knows how long. It was a long time. I thought I'd just come back then, go back, check in, come back, and play some more music. But Well, that's been several months.
If they don't know, perhaps that you're a prince of Cataloy, how are you going to explain us to them?
You're my friends.
Does he sound convincing? I mean, does he sound like he's like, as he's telling this, he's like not volunteering information?
You can give me an insight check.
I was waiting. I have a 0 insight, so I was like, someone please say they're going to do it.
Seems like he's telling the truth. He's a little, from what you know of him, he's jumping from topic to topic, but he always does that.
He's so flighty, it's hard to tell.
I think we better go in with you while you check in, as you call it. And I'm just gonna give a look towards Guy and Caliban and Silas and just be like, "This seems sketchy." I'm not gonna say that, but the look I give them is like, "This seems a little sketchy."
I'll say it in everybody's heads though.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. As you head in, there's maybe a couple patrons having some what could barely pass for soup, gray gruel. There's a lady up near the front talking to what looks like her cook or her helper in the back. She's got grayish hair pulled back into a loose bun, strands of hair hanging down. She's wearing a dirty apron over a ratty wool long dress. She says, "Have a seat wherever you like. There's plenty of room." And she goes back to talking to that person, and Killian runs over to a table that's open. "Is this good?" And he looks back to the rest of you guys. It's a table right in the center of the room.
I'm gonna look for a table, maybe that
We can sit with
maybe
our backs
closer
against
to
the wall.
closer to a wall near the exit.
A little more,
Yep.
a more emo table.
Not so much emo, a little more tactical, so we're not gonna be in the middle of everyone.
Especially one where the lighting only lights the lower halves of our faces.
You point to the table, and he's like, shrugs, "Okay." And he walks over there and just sits down, facing the back of the room, his back to the door, of course. It's 2 tables in. So if you'd go into the door and turn right, you'd go to 2 tables, and it's right there. You point to that table, and he sits down. The lady comes over as the rest of you start making your way and says, what can I get you, gentlemen?" She's missing a couple of teeth as well.
I'll take an ale.
I'm sorry. We're not allowed to serve ale after sundown. Rules by the Lord.
What no one
Not
can serve
serve ale
ale
after
after sundown?
So what are you allowed to serve ale then?
During the day,
What do people usually get at night here?
they usually get soup and some tea if you want it hot, or I can give you some juice if you want something room temperature, or I can give you water if you want something else room temperature.
I think some soups and tea then, please.
Very well.
So that gray stuff they were eating, that's the soup?
Yes.
No soup for me, thank you.
Okay. Soup for you? And Killian says, "I'll take an apple pie." She says, nods nonchalantly. "Okay." "Soup for you?" Points to you, Guy, and Torin, and Silas.
I'll give it a try.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll get a soup.
All right. So 3 soups and an apple pie. Tea for everybody? And Killian nods and Silas nods.
I
Sure.
think that'd be fine.
All right. Be right back. And she heads to the area, and I need 3 soups, an apple pie, and 4 teas, 5 teas, a number of teas that you guys want. And as she says that, you see from the back, the guy come out and nod, and there's the little boy. He's doesn't look more than 10, dirty, clothes kind of falling off his very thin body, comes out from behind the counter and runs out the door.
I'll look towards Killian.
And Killian looks at you and smiles. "Apple pie here is really good."
I was about to ask. Special item, is it?
Yeah, special items, not on the menu. They should be back. I should hear word here within the next 30 minutes or so. And he kind of nonchalantly waits, and they bring you this lukewarm gruel. It's literally terrible tasting soup, and some tea that's been sitting out all day long, so it's very, very bitter.
Orin will eat and drink. He's had worse.
As you eat and drink, you hear some loud footfalls from outside head into the room, and there's a man in the same uniform, except for he looks like he's wearing half plate or maybe splint mail or brigandine. Coming in, he's got what looks like a sword cut through his left eye that's partially blinded him. Pock marks on his chin, greasy beard and goatee, long dark hair with the widow peaks. Walks in and goes up to the lady and kind of gets uncomfortably close to her and kind of squeezes her. Give me an ale, and I'll take whatever these guys are having. And he points to the other people that are having dinner, and they kind of put their heads down. And he walks over and he grabs the gruel and pours it down his throat as it drips on his beard, and he throws the empty plate. You know what? This gruel is terrible. Give me 2 ales, and I want your best steak. And he takes a seat next to the door. He looks over at you guys and holds your gazes momentarily and turns back around and, oh, you got tourists, huh? Huh. I'll probably have to report that. Anyways, hurry up. And the lady quickly moves a lot faster than she was when she was serving you, and produces him 2 ales, puts it on the table, and he immediately downs one. Several minutes later, a fresh smelling steak of some kind of meat is produced, caramelized onions, and he starts to eat his dinner. You guys are sitting second table. He's to the table to the left, and the door's to the left of him.
I'm going to kind of lean in towards the guy in Caliban and say, oh, it's been so long since I've fought anyone in a tavern.
Guy Lagasse, you see that same, about 20 minutes later, you see that same kid poke his head in the door, and as this guy's having his meal, he pokes his head to get a look, and he sees that soldier, and he immediately pokes his head back out, and he doesn't enter.
I let everybody know that
Okay.
via my mind meld.
Yep.
Torin is going to... All right, I'll take care of this. Give me a moment. Stand up. Excuse me, good guardsman.
Sergeant, to you, Sergeant Arlo. This is my
Good
district.
Sergeant Arlo.
What are you doing in my
course.
district? Did you pay the tax?
That's one thing I would like to talk to you about. We were taxed upon entering, but I'm not sure if it was by an authorized person. Who do we make a complaint to?
Just fill out some paperwork at the barracks. I'm sure somebody will get to you, or maybe they won't.
I'm sorry, we are new here. Do you think you'd be able to point me to the direction of the barracks outside for a moment while I...
You can file a complaint with me if you want, provided you pay the district tax.
How much would that be?
5 gold, 1 for each one of you.
Oof. That's quite the steep fee. We were only swindled for not even half that, but it's the principle, you see. I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable discussing this matter. I'm not sure who this scoundrel's friends might be in the city as we're new here. Do you have a moment? Can we talk outside?
Why don't you have a seat right here and partake of an ale?
I'm gonna sit next to him, and try to block as much view as I can of our table.
And as you sit down, he slides the mug over to you, and then as you sit down, he slides it back to his left. Oh, I forgot, it's after hours, and you can't drink ale. Too bad.
Of course, I wouldn't want to break any of the Lord's rules here. You said 5 gold, right? And I'm reaching to my bag, not showing him, and I'll pull out 6 gold and hand it over towards him.
Okay. You're gonna put it on the table or just hand it to him under the table?
I'm gonna kind of not under the table. I'm gonna put my hand under it, showing it to him, offering it to him under the table.
Gotcha. He looks down and his eyes go a little bit wider, and then he looks at you, starts studying your features. So,
like I said, it's the principle of the matter, really.
You must be new around here. Starts to down his other ale.
And as Yeah, and like I said, I'm trying to block as much view as we're having this conversation. So he's like, his attention is focused on me, so that while we're having this conversation, maybe whatever can happen at the other table can happen.
Yeah, he's not really paying you any mind.
Hmm.
But he's not looking around the room. He's interested in his meal and his drink, and when his drink runs out, he yells for another.
So this is your district then, good sergeant.
My district all night long.
And I'm sorry, we are new here. The Lord here, seems to have. I want to make sure we don't break any of the city's laws. We know that there's no ale after dark. And is there anything else we should know?
Oh, of course. No drinking after dark, no gambling. Taxed upon entering the city and, well, into my district. Open worship of certain unnamed deities is forbidden. Selling wares after sundown and being out past curfew. And caught breaking that stuff, well, we just have to lock you up.
Of course, only one issue. How are we supposed to know which deities are banned if they're unnamed?
Oh, you can go down to the temple district. Around the corner here, you can see the ones that are closed are obviously ones that you can't worship. Ones that are open game.
Of course. Seems reasonable enough. This lord seems to have quite the good system of rule here. How long has she been in charge?
Oh, the Lord here's 6 months maybe. Turning this place around. It was a shithole before.
Yes, I can see it's been quite turned around. And if I see, and if I see like he's not like paying attention, as I said, we were a man upon entry claimed to be part of the guard, but wasn't wearing any sort of uniform, such as a fine uniform, such as yourself. And I'm gonna give a completely mismatched description of the actual guy in the front. And I think he said his name was Jeff. Jeff the guardsman. Yeah.
Which gate was he at?
We came in through the east, so.
Jeff at the east gate. That's my district.
If you could look into it, please, that we would really appreciate it.
Of course. And he holds his hand out expectantly, like, give me money.
Yeah, so I give him the 6 gold.
He puts it away. Yeah, I'll make sure Jeff doesn't bother you anymore. Where are you guys staying? In fact, I'll make sure, most of the guys don't bother you.
Well, are there rooms here?
There's no. This is just a tavern for, well, ale in the day and gruel in the evening.
We might kind of look around for a place to stay. We might actually go to the temple district first to pay homage to the Hallowed deities.
If you're into that kind of thing, have at it. Just don't be out after curfew.
Of course. What time is curfew?
3 minutes.
Looks outside. Depends on what district you're in, I guess. It'll be a little later for my district, I imagine. Since you were so kind to the soldiers here, I couldn't say for the other districts.
Perfect. Thank you, Sergeant. We really appreciate it.
All right, let me get back to my ale. Finishes his.
I'm sure we'll appreciate your friendship while we're here in your district, and we'll be hopefully meeting again soon.
He gets up and downs his drink, and he gives you a mock bow, and he turns and exits the tavern, not paying anything and drinking ale and eating a steak.
And as soon as he leaves, my smile drops, and I'm gonna look towards the woman, the proprietor, and how much does his meal cost?
It's free. They.
No, how much does it cost you?
Oh, I mean, 5 silver at most. Steak's hard to get, but
I gave her 5 gold.
her eyes go wide and they narrow momentarily, and she looks like she's trying to remember your face.
Back at the table.
Hide your face.
Oh well, I tried to distract him a little bit, but didn't seem to work. So
A few minutes later, the same scrawny kid comes in, and he goes up to the lady up front, and they have a conversation. And the boy comes back towards your table, and he eyes downcast a little bit and kind of staring up through his brow. apple pie is waiting for you at your location, and the weather has turned sour. It might rain. And he starts putting together a bunch of sentences that really don't make sense to anybody. And Killian answers him in kind with odd replies to his thing, and the boy turns on his heel and goes back to the kitchen. All right, Killian says, "Okay, I think they're ready for us. Are you guys ready?"
Lead on. Unless you guys want any more of this soup.
Oh, I love this girl.
Guy's immediately like pulling stuff out of his pack and putting spices in it, and it probably tastes pretty good for him. You make your way out into the evening, and Killian unties his horse. You guys start making your way back towards the northern gate, and it sweeps around to the left. So you're going to be on the western side of the city. We're looking for a place called the Righteous Boar. It's kind of hidden. I'm pretty sure I know my way around, but I'll know it when I see it. And you guys continue to walk, and you continue to see several patrols of guards, and they eye you warily. At times, you see people being taken away by guardsmen forcefully and shoved into cages on the back of paddy wagons, taking them away because either they're out past curfew or they're selling stuff or, whatever the case might be. It's very odd. And you make your way to this, looks like a warehouse. Large double doors stand out front. And Killian's like, I think this is the place. And he knocks on it, a specific tap to his knock. And it slides open slightly and a dark-skinned face peers out. What can I do for you? Killian steps forward. It's me, Kieran. I'm here at Yazid's request. I'm supposed to entertain his guests tomorrow evening and the following night. 1 minute. The door closes. And after several minutes of waiting, he's looking around nervously at you guys like, I'm sure they'll be back in just 1 moment. The doors slide open just enough for you to walk through. It's dark inside. 2 barrel-chested, dark-skinned men wearing like turbans and gold vests, pantaloons. All right, this way. And they open the door just a little bit, and it's dark beyond. What do you guys do?
Well,
Suppose we follow them in.
Yeah.
You follow them into the darkness, and they pull the doors closed behind you. And for several seconds, it's an odd, awkward silence in the dark. For those of you who can't see in the dark, Silas stands there like he's not worried about it. And the door opens, and the stark difference from the light outside and in this darkened area versus what you see when you open the doors pull open, and you see 2 sets of tables, 5 or 6 deep on each side of this very nice walkway that leads to a oaken, I guess it would be called a front desk. There are people playing cards, having drinks. You see this portly short man in like a white robe. He's got a fez color of maroon on his head, and he smiles, and Killian's like, yeah, that's Yazid. Come on, let's go. And he kind of skips towards Yazid, and the barrel-chested men are standing near the door, arms crossed. It's loud. It's loud in here. People look like they're having a really good time. As you approach, Killian says, How are you doing, Yazid? Did I leave my loot here? Yeah, I have it behind the desk, Yazid says. And he looks questioningly at the rest of you. So who are your friends? Killian's like, oh, my aunt asked them to come with us. Apparently they're friends with Grandma. And Yazid raises his eyebrow a bit and questioningly and asks, so what did you achieve to become friends with Kieran's grandmother? He looks over your shoulder at the guests of his establishment, however underground it might be. Interesting. Purses his lips. Perhaps we should speak more privately, if that is all right.
I think that would be.
He leads you back around the back, up some stairs. You go up the stairs, and it curves to the right, and there are several what look like fine doors set at equidistant spaces to the right, and then a larger door to the left that has beads hanging from the across the doorway, and he goes, "Please, right this way." And he leads you into an elegant chamber hung with different tapestries, thick pillows and divans and chairs are spread around this relatively large room, and he lays himself upon one of the divans, divan, whatever you call it, and he says, "So, perhaps now you can tell me what brought you to my doorstep." And Killian's sitting there looking like completely oblivious to the questions he's asking or the conversations at hand. He's just sitting on one of the pillows, kind of just smiling. Well?
Is this directed at us?
Yes.
Well, we pointed Killian. He did.
Interesting. So you're friends with Kieran's grandmother, excuse me. He doesn't call him Killian, he calls him Kieran.
Yeah, I don't know
We
if
are.
friends would be the correct term. We're acquaintances.
We're definitely friends with his aunt.
Interesting.
We've done some favors for his grandmother as well.
Well, I have information. Of course, I'm a broker of information after all. It costs money, after all. Resistances cost money.
I'm gonna look towards the group. I mean, we came down here, right? Might as well have some fun while we're here. And I'll turn back to him and I said, yeah, money would be good, right? But is that what you really need here?
It takes money to outfit an army, of course.
It takes money to outfit an army, but you might not need money if you have us.
He laughs, almost guffaws. His LOL is really out loud. Very well. If I can trust you and you have money and can help us outfit the resistance, perhaps it'll work well for both of us. You see, things here in Themon, they're dire. And you spend about the next hour listening to Yazid. Yazid Sabah is his name. And he describes that ever since Lord Alzamala has ensconced herself in the high tower, things have gotten worse. He continues to say, things are dire enough as it is. I'm afraid they're only getting worse by the day, he says grimly. The stalls in the free market are practically bare. Half the folks in the city are bordering on starvation. He continues, almost everything that comes to Themon by ship goes out again in caravans. And there isn't a business that's not under Lord Alzamala's control. She keeps the local watch in her pocket and the merchant circle dangling by her purse strings. The terms of Lord Alzamala's trade agreements are anything but profitable, but inexplicably, things keep happening to the ships and caravans of merchants who don't sign on. There's only one rule in Themon these days: serve Lord Alzamala or perish. He sighs. None of it's good for business, and it gets even worse when your customers keep disappearing.
How did this Lord Alzamala get her position?
She took it. She came in here, and I'm not really sure what's going on in this part of the kingdom. Very few legionnaires come through here, or if they do, they stop in at the high tower and move upon their way without issue. 6 months ago, she came in, declared herself the Lord, set up these rules, and nobody's here to stop her. So, I'm trying to outfit the resistance, and if you can help us procure weapons, particularly, well, information costs money, it would be extremely helpful to our cause. But you don't have to. I understand. Kieran is here to help woo some of our other guests who have deep pockets as well over the next couple of days. He's a fantastic musician. Have you heard him play?
We have. It was quite the sight.
Yeah, Silas nods. Yeah, he's fantastic. A little dark sometimes. Yeah, we have kind of a curated list that we give him because some of the songs he sings are kind of depressing, and we want these people to be happy. A spirit of resurgence. Be able to ask them for money here to help the resistance.
Yazid, do you know who Kieran's grandmother is then?
He smiles. I know many things. As I said, I'm a broker of information.
So then you know. Then why don't you have him ask her or ask his aunt for help with this matter? Do they know what's happening with this Lord Alzamala?
I haven't seen a royal person down here in as long as I can remember. There's no local ruler. It was easy for this lord to just come in and declare herself in charge, and there was nobody here to tell her that that's not right. That's not the thing to do. I don't know if she's part of the royal family. She claims she is, but I have never met. Well, Kieran doesn't know her. I don't think I've ever seen her. They tell us that she's a beautiful woman with flowing dark hair and fair skin, much different than any of the other. Well, Kieran and his aunt are
And
relayers of information go missing. In fact, every day dozens of city folk leave their homes in the morning and they don't come back in the evening.
yeah, it seems like the people are suffering quite a bit here.
Every day dozens of city folk leave their homes. They don't come back at night. Men and women, even children. Anyone out on the streets, especially at night, seem to be fair game. Shadow Eyes are kidnapping them and spiriting them away to the dungeon below the tower. I'm really not certain why. There are rumors that Lord Alzamala is pressing them into work gangs and forcing them to toil on a series of excavations deep in the heart of the Termatidad itself. However, if that's really the case, I have no idea what Lord Alzamala thinks she will find digging beneath the tower. First, few people, merchants, guildmasters, and lords stood up to the Lord. It didn't take long before every one of them was swinging by the neck from a gibbet. You see, Lord Alzamala makes an example of anyone who opposes her. Of course, there are still few bands of folks who are trying to do work against this lord. And he goes on, his tone a bit purposeful. I hear reports about them from time to time. They meet in secret here and there and about the city in basements and abandoned towers. There are only a few of these groups and they're small. They need weapons, hiding places, and a way to transport messages and supplies, and more recruits. These things cost money, lots of it.
I'm gonna look towards the rest of our group.
Kieran, looking oblivious.
So what precisely are you asking us to do?
I have a contact, one of my informants at the Worn Prince Tavern. He slides a coin or flips a coin from his divan towards your group. Use this coin as payment and the tavern staff will point you in the right direction. Obviously, if you know Kieran's grandmother, you must be relatively well respected. And I think we're on the same side. Ultimately, I need to get weapons into the hands of this resistance for us to be able to stand up to this mercenary company.
So all you need is just contacts then.
Contacts, resources, money to buy weapons on the black market.
Doesn't seem right. And I'm looking towards Caliban and Guy, and it seems like the people in this city are suffering quite a bit.
Sounds like she's running the place into the ground.
Yazid,
Right.
she is running the place into the ground. Half the people are starving, and those that aren't starving get swept away in some paddy wagon. Said they're violating the rules, and their family never sees from them again.
I think we could help you get your contacts, possibly. Maybe even try to get word to Kieran's family. But you say you need weapons, right? We could help with that, but
We need a lot of weapons.
to be quite honest, we are probably better weapons than you can get. You say you're a broker of information, yes?
By trade, yes.
Did you hear about the familial issues that Kieran's family was having, the house cleaning that recently happened?
He looks towards Kieran. I haven't heard. No.
Well, let's just say there's some matters that required certain... Let's just say it wasn't easy to clean house. That's the favor that we did for Kieran's grandmother. So, if you want, we can go and get your contacts, but, well, this armor I'm wearing and this sword at my hip is not for show.
Don't get me wrong. You certainly look capable, but this Shadow Eyes company that she has, they're not just a makeshift militia. They are well paid and they've been well schooled. And I've seen people from all over and coming here to work for this mercenary company. It grows and swells daily. They're known as the Shadow Eyes Mercenary Company. It's probably just some fancy name that her steward thought up. He thought it was clever.
And this mercenary company are the ones in charge of these districts, yes?
Yes, they wear a uniform, and he goes on to describe exactly the uniform that the person you met with before wear. There's typically three kinds of them. You have the regular soldiers. They typically dress in chainmail, and they have a certain insignia that denotes their rank. And then you have the sergeants. They wear either splint or brigandine or scale mail. And then the captains, typically wearing full plate mail with tall tower shields. Humongous men. They look down on my men out front. Fortunately, this is just a, vacant shipping warehouse, so they don't bother us too much.
Well, this is your city, you have more information, but I'm just saying if you have anything in the future that might be more attuned to our skill sets, something a little more, you need more muscle. Well, I think we can help with that, but what do you need us to do first?
Like I said, meet with my informants, pay with the coin I gave you, and they'll point you in the right direction. In the meantime, curfew's gone on. I have plenty of rooms here. Kieran is going to stay. After all, he's going to be entertaining our guests here in the next couple of days. And Kieran beams at the...
And you'll keep him safe?
Of course. I have my men. Everybody here is either trusted or part of the resistance, or could be help financing the resistance. The place is foolproof to the wizardly ways of looking in on you undetected. I spent some money, like I said, information, and, well, services of the eldritch kind are relatively expensive, so we do what I can, but you can feel free to partake of the entertainment and gambling if you so choose, and, an ale if the road has been long to you, and a nice firm bed for you to sleep in.
Turn towards the group and kind of shrug, kind of sounds like a good offer.
Yeah, much better than leaving.
And he smiles. I can have my men show you the way if you prefer.
Sure.
Very good. Go to the Warren Prince tomorrow. My contact will let you know what immediate needs they might have. But in the meantime, he claps his hand, and a half-elf man walks into the room. Got his hair pulled back, wearing almost a tuxedo. My lord, how may I be of service? Show these fine men and Kieran to their rooms, whichever they want that is unoccupied. Very well, my lord. Gentlemen, please, this way. And he leads you out of this elegant room. Instead of making a right, going back down into the main area, he leads you beyond several doors towards the end of a hallway. Would you like to sleep together, or would you prefer rooms of your own that have adjoining doors, or would you like your own separate chambers?
Maybe adjoining doors would be fine.
Perfect. And he starts to pass out keys to each one of you. Should you need anything, my name is Miller. Let me know. I'll be out at the front desk. Good evening. And he stoically marches off back down the hall and takes a left down the stairs and heads towards the common room.
I want the middle room.
Open your rooms, and they're nice rooms. Not overly extravagant or gaudy or anything like that, but quite serviceable. Everything is spotless, very clean. A brand new candle sits on the nightstand table next to you. Each room has a footlocker and a solid oak table in the corner with at least 4 chairs around it, and a nice wardrobe or dresser to put your clothes in your bags and your own chamber pot, etc. Is there anything you guys want to do before you turn in for the evening?
Kind of want to talk to Killian for a minute.
Okay, you know which room he has. You can head over there and knock on the door, and you open the door, and he's in there, and he's tuning his lute. Oh, got out of tune. It must have been the desert air or whatever. Silas is in there with him, and he goes, "Hey, Torn, come on in, have a seat. Just having a conversation with Killian, about the music he plays, etc. But more the merrier, I guess."
Just a quick conversation before we all turn in for the night. Just interested in how you met Yazid and came into playing for him and his friends?
Well, grandmother knew I loved music, and she loved it too. Oh, I'm sorry, I sound like Silas. Grandmother knew I loved music and said that I loved it too. And there was a guy down here that was really enjoying music, and he was kind of connected to the family. He was at the Jubilee. I don't know if you ever saw him, but you know they've been friends for a long time, I guess. And I don't know if you, I mean, I don't know if you know, Grandma doesn't have I don't have a grandpa. Well, at least he's not around. So she told me to come down here, and he knows I like music, and he always has important people to play music for, and it just seemed like a close by place that I can get away and beat out under the thumb of marching like a soldier and swinging a sword and, you know, learning, you know, going through all the books and all that boring stuff.
Right. And when was the last time you were here?
Oh, it's got to have been several months. Like I said, Grant, my auntie sent me to study with, well, I guess he's my uncle, more like a cousin, like twice removed, Jabari, out in one of the islands that are far, far, far to the west. He taught me how to sail and statesmanship and all that other boring stuff. So, God, it's been several months. When I was there, I was kind of like, I wouldn't say, I was kind of occupied for a little while. So I really don't know how long that time was, but it's been a long time.
So this Lord Alzamala then wasn't in charge when you were last here?
No. Did you hear what he said? He said it's bad. I don't remember being like this when I came here last, but I mean, there were people at the front gate and they asked for taxes, but it was not a big deal. It's like 5 copper, you know. Well, I was by myself and I took the boat and, you know, I always tipped the dockmaster. He was fine with it, you know. So I just came on shore like it was no big deal, and the boat dropped me off, and I said, okay, come back in 3 days, and they went on their way, and so did I.
Things seem to have taken quite a turn.
Yeah, that's weird, huh? I think it's, you know, as long as I can play music, everything's great.
I'm just a little more concerned about, well, we're only, what, a day and a half, 2 days ride from the capital?
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, not weird that it's 2 days ride, but like, I mean, you'd figure Grandma would have somebody like looking over things. Not sure.
Yeah.
She's really sick. Maybe she forgot.
Well, at least we're here. We can see what we can help. At least I'll leave you two to continue your collaboration and all.
All right, Torin, I'm gonna probably hit the sack too. It's been a long ride, and well, maybe I'll just go down and, you know, see if I can make some coin in those people down there. At least get a drink. All right, Killian, need anything? Let me know. My name is Kieran. All right, whatever. Good night, y'all. Heads off.
And yeah, I'll probably just head back to the room.
Okay. Guy and Caliban, is there anything that you in particular want to do this evening?
No.
Okay. And you, Guy?
Caliban, you can't send messages, right?
Can I send messages? I think I can. Not tonight, I don't think.
I'll just, before we turn in, I'll kind of have Caliban and Guy leave Silas asleep, because he stayed up all night the night before. I'll kind of ask them to gather in probably Guy's room because it's in the middle.
No, I apparently cannot.
You can't?
I thought we had or maybe we had an item that could do that.
Yeah, that's
my campaign.
Oh,
yeah.
So this little trip to fetch the prince's loot seems to have turned into quite the ordeal, hasn't it?
Well, wasn't the Duke suspicious of something?
Yeah, I almost wonder if we didn't get set up for this.
Yeah, it's just concerning to me that this is happening so close to the capital.
Well, it
makes
seems
me
weird
wonder.
to me that they would send us to babysit the prince to get his loot. Seems like overkill.
Makes me wonder what's happening in the rest of the empire.
Well, I have to say the Catalonians haven't exactly impressed me with their ability to rule anything.
So what do you both think about the situation in the city and what we might do?
We kill it by cutting off the head of the snake.
That was my thoughts, but apparently, just charging in and killing this Lord Alazam might be a little harder.
You saying just setting the entire city ablaze would be bad?
I mean, if all else fails, we just summon a bunch of giant bats, right?
No, I mean literally, just set the whole city on fire and burn it to the ground, and kind of problem solved.
We are trying to save the city, though, Caliban. I mean, there are still some people here, I guess.
I just thinks of himself like a torch in hand, like going from building to building.
I mean, I was thinking we could start off maybe visiting that sergeant first, but
Well,
if this
well, look.
Yazid wants to...
Yazid lives here, so presumably I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he knows a little bit more about what's going on than we do. So we can go meet his contacts, see how that shakes out.
True. I mean, we always
And if we
have the
don't,
option
and
to burn
if
it
we
all
don't
down.
like it, we always have the option to burn it all down.
True. Yeah, I have a hard time sometimes with these plans of subterfuge and taking things in the shadows. My instinct is to face our enemies head on. So
I think he's trying to say that there might be an awful lot of too many of them for us to handle.
I mean, Nesumonti thought he had an army too. But then again, I did die. I mean, everyone dies once, right?
We'll say yes, so you'll feel good.
All right. Well, I mean, we're still not sure of anyone in this city, so I'd say even keep our guard up here.
And as you guys turn in for the night, it's quiet, almost eerily quiet in your rooms, as if there's some kind of gesh laid out to prevent people from either overhearing conversations that are happening in this place, or the walls are just thick. You guys wake the next morning, gather your items, whatever they might be. You head back down towards the common room of the Righteous Boar. You head down there, and Yazid's sitting in a corner having breakfast. Kieran's there with him, and Silas is with him as well. And it looks like just having a conversation and about what you're going to play, what kind of music. And Yazid sees you step into the room, and he kind of stands up a little bit and waves his hand towards beckoning you to come towards him and the rest of the group, and gestures to the plate. And you see Miller there, and he goes, Miller, please, breakfast for these fine men. Miller claps his hand, and they start bringing some breakfast out to you. He says, please, sit down.
Miller, you don't happen to have an ale, do you?
Of course. He says in his
I feel like having some of that high life.
lilting voice, of course. A morning ale for the gentleman with the dark hair and the brooding look on his face.
I mainly just wanted to make that high life joke.
He goes off.
It's a good morning beer, yes.
They bring back what you required, and Yazid's like, don't worry, we'll take care of it. We'll put it on your tab. My tab, your tab. Put it on your tab. Please. Enjoy. Have breakfast.
Yes. One quick question, Yazid. I had a little run-in with this one of the district sergeants, Sergeant Alu, I think his name was. Arlo. There, that's
Arlo?
what it was.
Kind of pockmarked skin, eye, scar across his eye.
Bit of a blowhard. Thinks highly of himself. Yeah.
I mean, yes, I know he says, I know who you're referring to. He is a blowhard. He's boisterous and demands things, but don't get me wrong. I understand he really knows how to handle a blade as well.
We'll see. But
He smiles, nods approvingly.
I may have tried to ingrate myself a little bit, as I was hoping to distract him, as your little runner seemed reluctant to enter when he was there. But if we happen to run into him again, where should we say that we stayed the night?
Wherever you like. I don't think they really care, as long as you stay out of their way. And
I mean, I don't exactly want to tell him that we stayed at the Righteous Boar. That doesn't seem like a known establishment.
No, this place, as far as we're concerned, amongst friends, does not exist.
So, do you have a name of a place that does exist that I can tell him?
Of course. You can tell you stayed at the Crimson Sloth. It's on the south side of the city, towards the poorer district.
Crimson Sloth. Very good. Just didn't want to have to be caught unawares if that question came up.
Of course. Are you heading out this morning to the Worn Prince?
Is there any other sights to see in this city at the moment?
I mean, you could always get yourself familiar with the different places. I just say stay away from the high tower. She locks herself up in that place and is heavily guarded by these captains.
I'll try my best, but I think we can manage to stay away from there.
Yeah, well, be sure you do, because I saw 3 of my men try to take on one of these captains, and, well, the captain is still part of the company, and we buried my men the next day.
I don't know if your men have ever stood under the breath of an ancient white dragon. But
That a euphemism, or? No, no worries. Very well. All right, I have to get back to business. I have some guests coming in today. Hopefully you can join us for Kieran's show later on this evening. And he points back. They're setting up the room out back or around the corner here. We have kind of a staging area, dinner party. Then they're going to go into this next room and have a proper concert. And Kieran's going to be the featured entertainer. He's a fantastic musician. And Kieran beams as he completely ignores the state talk and all the other things that bore him. But he'll take a musical instrument and a compliment, and that makes him feel pretty good.
all right, I guess we'll head to the Worn Prince.
The Worn Prince, a familiar tavern. You were just there having gruel last night. You make your way back around towards the northern part of the city as the road turns towards the east. And you turn down one of the streets to go down, and there's a throng of people kind of backed up. And shouts from beyond, you hear, "Make way! The city's lords come! Everybody, make way!" And you hear the clatter of horses, hooves on cobblestones, and all the people move to the side and kind of kneeling down and placing their head down, bowing, as some people on horseback are making their way in the opposite direction of your travel.
You can't dangle that in front of us. Torin stands for a moment and then reluctantly will go with the rest of the people.
Are the rest of you guys going to do the same, or are you going to stand and watch him
Yeah,
by?
if we see Torin do it, we figure, sure, if he's going to do it.
All right.
But we don't want to be the first ones to do it. you know.
Of course.
Very, very reluctantly.
It's a bow, right? It's not like a High Hitler or that's.
It's
Oh,
On your
Torin's not
knee?
gonna bow.
Oh, okay.
right.
They're all getting down on their knees.
On their knee.
For guy,
taking a knee.
you don't have to do that. You can just stand there. They'll never notice you're not on your knee.
Nope. Torin's getting out of the way, but he's not going on his knee.
Very good. The rest of you guys following suit, or?
Well, if he's not going to go on his knee, we can't go on our knees.
And as you move off to the side and put yourself up against the building and all these other people are kneeling, you see a small, wiry man in robes of sickly, poisonous green coming into view with what looks like an honor guard. He's riding a soot-colored gelding. The man's dark hair is cropped close to his head, adding to the severity of his sharp features. His eyes glitter in the ruddy sunlight like small black stones. And folk bow their heads, kneel, as he reverently passes them by. He catches your gaze, or at least the gaze of those standing on your side of the street, and his eyes narrow a little bit as if he's taking in some kind of information, and turns his head back towards the direction of travel and continues on. And after they pass by, the people are murmuring amongst themselves as they return to their feet and start moving about to whatever destination they were going prior to the passing of this person.
They were saying that the Lord of the city was coming through, right?
The Lord Steward.
Oh, okay.
After a few moments, the throng disperses and you guys continue on and make your way down to the Worn Prince. You head in, the same lady in the dirty aprons there, and she, "Oh, you're back. You must have liked the soup. Please, have a seat wherever you like." At this point, it's completely empty. More of that soup or gruel, or, "Oh, you asked for an ale. Would you like an ale instead? We can serve now here during the day."
Yeah, I'll take an ale.
Oh, very good. And for the rest of you?
Just water for me.
All right, I'll be right back. Anything to eat?
What's popular during this time of day?
Soup?
I can hear the air quotes around that word.
And we'll pay up front.
Oh, well, excellent. And she moves forward to take whatever payment you have.
And I produce the coin.
She goes, oh, big spenders, I see. One moment. And she pockets it in her apron and heads back to the front. And you see the guy and the cook kind of look through the cook's window out towards the floor. And he says something to her. And then she comes back and says, please, come with me. You deserve a more private room. She leads you to a room on the side. Are you going to follow?
No. Yeah.
We leave town immediately.
We leave. Okay, we'll see you next week. And she leads you to a private room. As you guys enter, there's a large table. Room's much nicer. It's bereft of any other decorations or furniture, adornments. You just have a large table and some chairs. And she closes the door, and she kind of undoes her ratty bun. And as her hair falls, it turns from gray to soft auburn color. And she turns back to you, and you see a beautiful half-elf woman smiling, wearing dark leathers. Her hair, auburn, rolls over her shoulders. And she says, welcome, friends. I'm Marielle. How can we help each other?
Well, I think I need to help you guys with this gruel.
We would love to hear it, but we try to be relatively common, or what is the word I'm looking for?
Disgusting, I think, is the word you're looking for. You drive everyone away so that no one will come in if they don't have actual business here.
I can't believe you guys ate that stuff. It's terrible.
I've had worse.
As Guy shoves another spoonful in his mouth.
She smiles and says, well, you sent to us, so you must have his trust.
He did. He said that he was looking for contacts and to pay with his coin. And sorry, what was your name?
My name is Marielle.
Marielle.
I'm one of the leaders of the resistance here in the city. I was called here by a friend hiding somewhere in the city. But I think we're on the same side. And she repeats that phrase that Yazid used the day before. If you're up for it, I have a job that might get you more information, or at least get us some much needed goods.
It doesn't happen to involve sticking the pointy end of a sword through Sergeant Arlo's back, does it?
Maybe not Sergeant Arlo, depending if it's his day for the collecting of the caravan's tariffs. It might.
Well, if there's a chance, then I'm in.
A wagon enters the city's east gate every evening, bearing stiff tariffs that Lord Alzamala's Shadow Eyes have extracted from caravans that either try to bypass the city or not pay their fair share as it journeys towards Cataloi and Alim. We're told it contains valuable cargo. You should confirm that and see what it carries.
Just confirm it, or?
Well, I mean, you can confirm it by keeping it, or you can confirm it by looking at it or sending it on their way. We'd prefer that you kept it for us.
That sounds a little more fun. That's quite the trick you pulled with your hair and appearance.
Well, we all have to keep up appearances when necessary.
Right. Is that an innate talent or something that most of your group can do?
Oh, well, most of the others stay to the shadows and amongst themselves, and I'm fortunately able to hide in plain sight. Something I learned, but I can't do it all the time.
Right. I was hoping that maybe you had some sort of items that could help us be a little more inconspicuous while doing this job too, but I guess that just means that we can leave no witnesses.
That's a fair assessment. I don't think you would be hiding very well in that. Is that mithril?
Yeah, and I just had it painted red, which now seems like not the best decision.
Indeed. Well, perhaps you can procure yourself some kind of cloak to cover yourself.
I mean, I really like the cloak I'm wearing.
It's also red.
It is.
It's the cloak with displacement.
As I said, wagon piers in the evening. The eastern gates. Find out what's in it. Stow it away from wherever you want, wherever you can, and just let us know where it's going to be. You shouldn't have a hard time finding a place to store it. Half of the buildings there are abandoned.
And we come back here and let you know, or we go back to Yazid and he'll send word.
We'll know if you were successful, and if you weren't successful, you're probably either dead or captured.
So I'm just saying, after the mission, where would be the best place for us to lay low?
I would imagine at the Righteous Boar. It's
Right.
kind of off the grid. You know what I mean?
I do.
So like now we're supposed to be bandits and do some highway robbery. Is that what's happening?
Think of it more as the ancient myths of Robin Hood, right? These people are stealing from the rich, well, making themselves rich, and you guys steal from them.
I'll look towards Guidance. I've been a bandit. This is not that.
Well, if you excuse me, I must resume my duties as matron of the... She wrinkles her nose. The Worn Prince. She turns and puts her head back up, and it turns back into gray loose bun and her dirty apron and wool homespun dress, and she nods to you and exits out back towards the common room.
Does it include a hat outfit?
No.
As we're walking out, I'll kind of lean in towards her and I say, I feel like a fool for paying for that steak now, right?
Of course you do. That's okay. Probably did the right thing. He's an ass, and we put up with him because if we don't, he's very good with the blade.
So people keep saying. I hope to find out soon.
I hope you do too.
Is that an insult or compliment?
And
She smiles. I think we're on the same side.
I think we are.
They keep saying that.
I hope for them we are. And should we head to the East Gate then?
Is the idea that you're going to go out there and kind of survey the area? She says it happens at just after sundown.
Yeah, I mean,
And it happens every day.
Every day, she says, people come in with some kind of goods from other caravans that they've either plundered or taken. I guess that's the same thing.
yeah, I'll turn towards the group, and I think it might be good to get a scope of the area before we head out there. I'd rather not go into this situation blind.
Yeah, well, recon's not bad.
All right, you head back on the Word Prince. You take the main road that leads towards the East Gate. As you start to approach the East Gate, you see actual 2 guards standing there. No more of, the guy, Jeff, who decided to collect your taxes. They're actual guards at the gate. And
Oh, by the way, the entire time we're in the city, I'm gonna be keeping my eye out for that guy.
okay. So as you're making your way, you can give me a perception check.
Jeff or
Well, he didn't say his name was Jeff. I said his name was Jeff.
oh, okay.
He gave a bullshit name too. So
Yeah, you're looking as you go from place to place. You don't see Jeff, but what you do see are several older, several older buildings that were probably shop fronts at one time that seem to be boarded up. One of them looks like it has the door slightly ajar, and it sits along the road, the main road. You assume that where the cart passes, 200 feet from the main gate.
I'll kind of give a head nod to Caliban and Guy and Silas and towards the building and kind of nod my head over in that direction.
Silas, he nods back. All right, my liege. Let's go see.
We'll head over and see if this is a good stakeout point.
Okay, door's slightly open. Are you going to go in?
Yep.
All right, and you push on the door, and gives maybe an inch, but it seems like there's some resistance behind it.
I'll push.
Okay. You lead into it and you hear the sickly moving of flesh as it separates from bone. And you push the door open and flies are buzzing around. The place is empty, with the exception of it looks like 3 or 4 bodies piled up behind the door.
Are we able to tell, like, the general description of these people, or is it men, women, like?
Yeah, you can see it looks like 2 adults, 2 teenagers, 2 men and 2 women. It looked like they've been here for months.
I'll keep going in.
All right, and you push through and make your way back, and it's a sparse place. There's looks like boxes piled up. And all the windows are boarded. Looks like you can close and lock the door. You can peek through some of the cracks in the boards and see out at least a decent vantage point of the thoroughfare.
Any objections? How does that turn to the group?
2.
Staying here till nightfall.
Not really.
Silas says, I could probably make that stink go away, or at least make it smell like flowers. Flowers and dead people aren't the best mix, but at least it's better than what it smells like right now.
Yeah, that'd be a nice change.
All right. So you guys are going to stay there until sundown, or at least until you see a wagon being pulled?
Yep. Unless anyone else wants to do anything else.
Nope, I'm good.
All right. And as you guys sit there in the flowers and rotting flesh, the hours go by, waiting what seems like an eternity. The night starts to give way to twilight, and you hear what looks like a change of the guard as the night comes, and poke your head out through the windows, and you can see you have a pretty good vantage point of the main gate. And sure enough, a wagon enters the city's east gate. On it, what looks like being drawn by a dark horse. One man sits behind the reins. Another one sits next to him, and it looks like a third sits in the back of this cart, and what looks like probably 2 or 3 large boxes are covered by a tarp.
Is there anyone else in the street?
No, it looks like as you sit here and wait and look, most of the people are trying to get to where they need to get to before the sun goes down.
I'll look to the group. You guys have any ideas on how you want to handle this, or do we just go with our normal tactic of jumping right out in front and center?
Okay, but if we do that, I mean, isn't the whole city going to be looking for us?
Well,
I mean, we're taking the same place to someplace in the city, right? I mean, do we have a place to take it and hide it?
they said any of the abandoned buildings. Even maybe here, it doesn't seem like anyone's been here for months.
Seems like we should make sure that we know where we're going to hide it before we grab it and how to get there. I mean, we don't have to do this today. If one comes every day.
True. What do you think, Guy?
I mean, whatever was a conversation earlier intended that we're supposed to do it tonight.
I don't know if they were that picky about that, as much as wanting it done.
True, but what?
How many people did we see?
3 in a horse-drawn cart.
I don't know. Seems like a good opportunity. There's plenty of. I don't think we need the cart, right? We need the contents of the cart. We could hide that in here.
And how big is the contents look?
Looks like medium-sized. The cart is by no means a large cart. It's only being drawn by a single horse that is carrying 3 armored men and whatever's in the back under these tarps. You could probably, if you had a big enough door, you could probably fit the whole cart inside this, what looks like an abandoned store.
Is there any doors in the back of this place?
Yes, there are doors in the back.
I mean, it seems like these bodies keep away most people. I don't think we're going to find anywhere better. I don't think we should be going anywhere too far to try to hide this stuff. We kill the guards.
So there's no one, there's not a lot of people on the street or anything. It's basically just the guards and the cart.
Correct. It looks like everybody who was traveling the street that aren't part of this mercenary company who've tried to get to where they need to get to before the sun went down.
Seems like the moment's now. My question is, do we want to try to maybe have a distraction while some of the more quiet members of our group try to flank, or do we just all jump out and smash and grab?
I've never been one for strategy.
Yeah.
Smash and grab it is. It was always effective in the caravans what we'd hit before, so.
Yeah, it was like the saying of Captain Kirk's idea of strategy was a phaser and a smirk.
Well, I don't want to let the cart pass us by, shall we?
And as you prepare yourself to get ready, small alleyways between the different buildings, you can hide yourself amongst the different barrels, trash, abandoned carts, etc. Go ahead and end tonight's episode there and pick up next week with the ambush of whatever these guys are carrying, and see what these well-armored people can do.
Yeah, I'll say what I'm gonna do next week.
All right.
To get ready.
All right. Appreciate everybody joining us. Shout out to Commissit, Amina, for hanging out the whole night, and we'll see you guys next time on Through the Eyes of Eleren.